video demonstration, I'm going to show you how to make a small, sweet and simple card using the JND434 daisy circle and leaves. This die has been designed to not only give you some beautiful little they're slightly fatter daisies than I've done before, but it's also designed with the little circles to add extra bits for embellishments, but also to give you a beautiful background, so that it's been designed to give you two things in one. And also in this set you get included the leaves, which are the perfect size to actually match with the daisy. So to start with, I've got here a piece of card, and this is just normal white card, and what I've done is covered this with Pearl Fusion ink in flamingo and coral, and then flicked water on it to bleach it out to give it that beautiful deep detch effect with the beautiful pearl finish on it. So all we're going to do is to take the circle and stick it down, and if you'll notice there's actually a cross in the center which tells you how to get this straight. So you get basically following the lines along the four cardinal points, and all we do is tape that down and we cut that, and we're cutting it into the center of a square of card. And the card's been cut to 4 inches by 4 inches, but it can be any size you want. So we're going to trim it down and we're going to add a circle frame. So I'm just running this through my machine so that you can see how it actually cuts. And you can see here that it cuts absolutely beautifully. And we get this beautiful circle background. And the idea is you will get a little imprint, but not a massive one of the circle. So you can use that flat on a card or a project like that, but also you will also then get all of the flowers out. So the way that it actually works is the large circles give you the flowers. So there we have 1, 2, 3, 4. You get 5 of the large and 4 of the small, and they just look beautiful in this. And you'll see I've used some of these flowers in the project that I did for the JND433 infinity panels, but you also get in this these little circle embellishments, and they're not pure circles, they've got a little zigzag edge to them, so that you can actually, we'll try and pick one up and I'll try and show you that. So they're not actually a pure circle, you'll actually get that little zigzag edge. So they've got a little bit more detail to them. So all we're going to do now is I've made a frame just using the press cut circle die. So I've made a frame in white and a slightly larger one in grey. And that means that we can simply stick that onto there. It will fit the circle exactly. And the bottom circle we've used here is a 4-inch. So we've used a 4-inch circle. And we'll put that down with some foam tape, as you can see there. And I've got one already done here. So we've just framed it, and I've just chopped out the excess pieces on the corner, so there's nothing popping through. And we've added here simply a little bit of foam tape on the back. And I'm going to add this to a card blank. Now I've gone with a 6x6 card blank. So it's still relatively small, but it has a little bit of impact. And I'll bring that one in a second. Let's just take all of this foam tape off. There we go. And all I've done is take a 6x6 card blank, check the size, and I've matted it with a 5.5-inch piece of white, and then added 1/8 of an inch on, so you've got a 5 5/8 in pink, and a 5 6/8 or 5 3/4 in grey, just to offset those colours. And I'm simply going to pop the circle into the centre of there, making sure that the flowers stay in that cross shape, so they're nice and even. We want to add a little bit of detail onto this, so I'm going to use some of the Craft Artist dewdrops. So here I've got the dewdrops. These are beautiful because each one has a little water bead in it. It almost has a little airdrop in it, which just makes it look that little bit more 3D, and they are pure glass. So I'm just turning these over onto the flat back, as there's a flat back and a domed front, which makes it slightly easier. And all I'm going to do is to just add a little bit of glue glaze. Glue glaze is the perfect thing to glue these, as it doesn't take more than a couple of seconds to dry once the glass bead is actually on. If you use normal PVA glue, what you'll find is that will take up to 24 hours to dry. And obviously we want this dry relatively quickly. So all I'm doing is dropping one of those beads onto the back into the center of each flower. And that gives a really lovely 3D effect without actually being massively 3D. So we take that from being just a shape, a negative, into being a flower. And there we go. Nice and simple and beautiful onto there. So all we want to do now is to shape our flowers. And to do that, I'm just using the Crafts 2 flower moulding foam. And I'll just do one of each, the large and the small. Simply take the ball tool that comes with it and rub in the middle. So I'm pressing down and circling in the center, which just 3Ds the flower, because each flower has a little cut in it, which makes that a lot easier. We then add a little bit of glue glaze into the center of each of those. And again, we simply add one of the dewdrops to give it that lovely flower center and 3D. I think these make the most perfect flower centers. So I'm going to bring back in my card. And I've done now is I've taken a little bit of scrap from when I made the piece of card. So I made it larger. And I've stamped just in grey the sentiment "Special Wishes sent with love." And on this, I've got 2 layers of foam tape. So I need to put 2 layers of foam tape. So I'm putting 2 layers of foam tape on what would be the right hand edge, so that I can sort of load that just there and it stands proud. So we're putting 2 layers. I use 2-inch or 2mm, sorry, foam tape. 2-inch foam tape would be very thick. So using 2mm foam tape, and I can just go against that edge and come across there and stick that down. So we've got our beautiful sentiment nice and straight. And then I've got a little selection of the foliage. So I've cut the foliage using card that I've put fusion onto again. So I've just inked this in spearmint and verdant so that we get a nice mix of colours. And all I'm going to do is take a little bit of glue glaze and arrange that around this left hand side. So I am going to create my little sort of triangle, as that makes it so much more attractive. I'm also going to take 2 more little pieces and tuck them in under the circle. So we're kind of continuing that green on. So again, a little bit of glue glaze, and we'll tuck those in behind that circle. So we're keeping it all to that side. And then I'm simply going to add some of the flowers. I'm not going to put them all on, but I'm just adding a few of the flowers in this pink colour to match. So tucking them in. So putting a little selection of 3 there. And then to keep the odd numbers, we'll pop 1 in there. And we'll take another one of the small ones. And we'll just add it there. So we're keeping that little spray of flowers to one side. And there we have, just using the 1 die plus the circles set, using everything in the daisy circle and leaves, we've made the flowers, the leaves and the background to make this beautiful, small and simple card.